almost relapsed today because of a craving that I had. It came out of nowhere. And in today's brief video, I want to talk to you guys about what happened, what could have happened, and how I prevented it from happening. I think this is a video a lot of you are really going to relate to, so please try and stick with me for the whole thing if you're struggling with addiction to nicotine, THC, energy drinks, or adult media content. I'm going to talk today about almost relapsing on stimulants or pre-workout products. Now, before you switch away because this video isn't about weed or nicotine, just replace the word pre-workout with weed, nicotine, alcohol, whatever the substance is, and I promise this is going to apply to you. So my day started off kind of like anyone else's Sunday morning would. I woke up a little bit on the later side and I told myself I was going to work out. I normally work out first thing in the morning. And today I was particularly tired. For the last 3 or 4 weeks, pre-workout products and caffeine has been heavily on my mind. Now, I can't tolerate caffeine at all. My body has a horrible reaction. I get muscle twitching. I get numbness in my hands and feet. I really messed up my nervous system a while back. So having energy drinks and pre-workout products is a really bad thing for me. I almost threw away 5 years now, close to, of not drinking stimulants or not drinking products. So I woke up and I was very, very tired. And I was thinking to myself, you know what? I wonder what pre-workout products are on the market that are stimulant free, that don't have caffeine in them. And what I was kind of craving this morning was the hyper sweet taste of some of these products. So if you've ever had them before, they'll flavor them like raspberry lemonade or mango or fruit punch. And I was craving that sweet taste for some reason. I haven't craved it in about 4 years. So I start off my day instead of working out by getting on my computer and researching stimulant-free pre-workout products. That's how I started my day. And naturally, that research led into, well, what about low caffeine containing pre-workout products? And here I am, and what's happening in this process? I'm planning a relapse. I'm actually planning on actively going back to using the substance instead of diverting my attention and my energy, because a craving is nothing but an energy, into something else. So I'm planning the relapse. And I find a product, Dr. Jackal. It's a pre-workout product, and it has about 100 milligrams of caffeine in it. Now, after I find the product online, I'm starting to search what stores around me have it. Now, at the same time, a client of mine texts me and they said, hey, can you talk right now? And I responded back with saying, I'm really not available right now. I'll be available later on today, though, but right now is not a good time. I'm busy. And the reality was, in that moment, I wasn't actually busy. I was busy planning a relapse. And how sad is that, right? So the second thing, here I am planning it. Now, the second behavior that comes into play is lying about what it is I'm doing. And lying is often a big part in relapse when you see someone struggling with addiction, right? I lied to a client of mine, and I wasn't totally lying. I did have other things going on, but in that moment, I probably could have talked, and I just wasn't there mentally. Now, what happens next? My wife comes, she grabs me, she says, hey, we got to go food shopping. Let's go do some errands today. And my brain automatically thinks, okay, great. Here's a good opportunity for me to go find one of these products. Now, we go food shopping at Wegmans. It's a grocery store, and they have a supplement section. And I immediately make my way over to the supplement section, and I actually start looking at pre-workout products that are there. I'm looking at the prices, I'm looking at the ingredients, and I'm working on justifying purchasing one of these products in my head. You're really tired, Frank. You don't smoke weed anymore. You don't use, nicotine anymore. You need a stimulant. This would be a good thing. A lot of people use it. This would be a benefit to you. So now here I am justifying my use of this product. Maybe I'll try it again. Maybe this time it's going to be different. Maybe it had to do with something else and not the drug, why I had a bad experience in the past. And my wife comes over and she says, what are you doing? What are you looking at? And I'm like, oh, just nothing, workout products. I'm thinking about making a video on them later is what I said. That's another lie. I'm actually thinking about consuming the product. So here's the behaviors: planning the relapse, lying, and then justifying the reasons why a relapse seems appropriate. We wind up leaving the food store and I don't purchase the product, and then we go to get gas. And as I'm pumping gas, I'm literally having a battle of my two brains, my addicted voice and my human voice. And this is the moment that changes everything. This is the moment that stops a relapse from happening. As I got out of the car, I said to her, "Hey, I got to go to Vitamin Shop afterwards. I want to get more beef jerky." She's like, "You already have a lot of beef jerky. Why do you want more?" I was like, "Oh, that's a good point." Kind of back down from it. Yeah, maybe another day I'll go, whatever, no big deal. But in my head, I was thinking, yeah, I'll go maybe another day to buy some pre-workout. Now, what happens in this moment? As I'm pumping gas, I say to myself, stop. That's not the human brain speaking. That's the addicted voice. You don't want pre-workout because you've built a great life for yourself. You've built a great business for yourself. You've built a beautiful relationship for yourself. All things that pre-workout in my past life used to damage. I used to take this stuff, get really, really hyper, have a fairly horrible temperament, and that temperament has destroyed many relationships in the past. I would get really, really sick when I would take pre-workout products. Numbness, tingling, muscle twitching, and that would lead to a lot of anxiety. And that anxiety would typically land me a seat in a doctor's office, a neurologist or some type of neuromuscular specialist, where they'd then start testing me for diseases like MS or other nervous system-based disease processes. And all the time I'd be sitting there knowing that the problem is actually the drugs that I'm consuming. So I recognize that and I say, stop. You don't want to go back to that. You've worked really, really hard to work out again and build a good life for yourself. Is it really worth a $25 pre-workout? And then I recognize that's the addictive voice speaking. I don't want a pre-workout. It, aka the addictive voice, wants a pre-workout. And I don't have to entertain that thought. I don't have to entertain that voice. Now, what I did next is super important. I got in the car, I went home, I called the client, I successfully carried out an unbelievably productive coaching call. I think if the client's watching this, they would agree with me on that. And we talked about this. This is something that we talked about because they were asking me in a sense about relapse and how you prevent it. They were suffering from cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome. And we had this exact conversation. I told them earlier I could have spoke, so here I am now being honest about the situation, why I didn't answer the phone earlier. So backtracking on those lies and clearing them up, being honest with myself. And I took action. I didn't get in the car and go to Vitamin Shop. I didn't come home and go pick up a pre-workout or order one online. I made videos, I exercised without the pre-workout, I prepared my healthy food throughout the week, and I moved on with my day. I stopped entertaining the addictive voice once I recognized that it wasn't me speaking, that it wasn't me that wants to relapse. It was that addicted voice. It was the it voice. It wanted pre-workout, not me. I very clearly didn't want pre-workout for many reasons. And then I thought back a little bit more and I realized I've quit pre-workout before in the past for a year, 2 years, time and time again. I would take these long caffeine tolerance breaks. And I remembered there were times in the past when I've relapsed after a year to 2 years after quitting stimulants. And I was just so happy that I caught it this time and that I pumped the brakes and that I avoided a relapse. And I made a mental note to myself that, granted, I don't think about caffeine day to day. It's never on my mind. But I made a mental note, Frank, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, from today, this exact same scenario may arise again. And it's something that I'm going to be very, very prepared for. Now, we could also look at another thing that led to this incident. I've been watching a lot of videos about working out, and a lot of influencers promote pre-workout products. And they're big muscular guys and really attractive women. And I've been convincing myself subconsciously that I was going to relapse for probably about a month now. And looking back, I see the behavior that I was partaking in, and it's something that I'm certainly going to be more aware of going forward in the future as I continue to learn about new workout routines and new supplement products out there on the market today. I even went as far as justifying my potential relapse by Googling what different athletes use as pre-workout products. And then ultimately I Googled some of my favorite people to learn that they don't really use caffeine at all, because they know that caffeine restricts blood flow, and big picture, it's really not a productive stimulant to use. So I hope this video helps you guys out. This was just an honest conversation, straightforward. And hopefully, if you paid attention, you can take some of the principles and some of the traits and some of the behaviors that I mentioned, apply them to your own life, to your own addiction, and prevent future relapses for yourself. Call out the addictive voice, take action, put your energy into something different, and move on. That's the best way to avoid a relapse.